Isho, aka Fujitora, is one of the most powerful characters in the New World. He made his first appearance at Dressrosa as a Marine Admiral, assigned after Okiji left the Navy to do some soul-searching during a 2-year time skip. Akainu received a promotion and also had his position filled by Rigokyu. Now, where does that leave Sengoku? Well, he's retired and enjoying lots of alone time with his pet goats. Now we know, Fujitora is a blind man with an X-shaped scar centered on the left side of his forehead that stretches over both eyes. But here's the crazy part, he blinded himself. It wasn't a result of some fight he was in or some girl that broke his heart. Rather, it was something he did to himself after seeing all the violence that existed in the world. In his words, there are some things better left unseen. As a man of honor, Fujitora is always known for doing the right thing while trying to save others from harm's way. We see him do this many times at Dressrosa where he had the chances to go berserk with his Devil Fruit ability, but instead chose to get people to safety instead. His justice motto as a Marine is Jinji Aru Seigi, which translates to humane justice, but because he's so passionate about justice, Fujitora does not hesitate when it comes to hunting down and capturing pirates and criminals. We're talking about a man who came to the Kurita Coliseum, which was a safe zone for criminals, and waited to arrest the competitors as they exited the arena. Like, wow, buddy, could have at least let them grab some water first. It's rather hot that time of year. But moving forward, Fuji's desire to remove all evil stems from his disgust with the world government and how they would allow pirates to serve as law enforcers as the 7 warlords of the sea. He strongly believed that the pirates would use their status under the government immunity to commit heinous crimes, ship arms, and commit murders. This is why he and Akainu had some heated talks at the time. Now we all know he is the holder of the Zushi Zushi No Mi, which allows its user to create and manipulate gravitational forces at will. He's able to move about things and objects without a scratch, from tiny debris to a massive battleship. He can move them all. The range of his gravity field is also incredibly big. This is why he was able to send out a meteor for Zoro to deal with while he casually walked away like he wasn't about to wipe out the whole island. But what if things turned out differently for Isho? What if he never blinded himself? What would happen if, instead of removing his own eyes, he chose to see the cruelty of the world? Well, I did a lot of research and I cannot wait to share my findings. Let's dive in. Now we know that Fujitora had to have gone through a lot of horrible things growing up for him to have taken out both of his eyes. Maybe he witnessed the death of a loved one, lost both of his parents in an accident, saw his country get reduced to ashes. Those origin stories actually sound quite familiar, but you get my point. The list could go on and on. But for the purpose of our story, let's say he went through all 3. What kind of person would he become? Well, from what we know, usually when someone loses a loved one, they undergo a traumatic experience which leads them to achieving a powerful ability called the Sharingan. Now there's many ways this could play out, but we will try our best to look at 3. In the first scenario, Fujitora gains this incredible ability shortly after eating the Zushi Zushi No Mi at the age of 10. Since his parents never left him with any siblings, he is unable to gain the eternal Mangekyo and will eventually turn blind after overusing the ability. But this is all Isho really needs for this scenario, seeing as he would be able to master Haki. His life plays out like it does in the original timeline. Having always been an advocate for justice, Fuji never uses his powers to steal from anyone or prey on the weak. He embodies the quote he would later create: "If you don't want justice to be dishonored, keep it close to you at all times. If we lose credibility just by admitting fault, we didn't have any in the first place." He grows up and becomes a Marine Admiral. No one ever points out his strange eye because they just believe it's part of his Devil Fruit ability. But then the events of Dressrosa arrive and Fujitora lets the Straw Hats get away. After Akainu calls and asks for a briefing on what happened, Fujitora tells him that he did his job as a symbol of justice and prioritized human life over catching criminals. Akainu becomes furious and decides to personally board a ship heading for Dressrosa. Fed up with the continual insubordination from his colleagues, he plans to make an example out of Isho. In the distance, Luffy asks the old man if he needs any help, but Isho makes this face. Even though the people of Dressrosa had just been freed, Fujitora tells everyone to return indoors. As Doflamingo catches sight of Akainu stepping onto shore, despite just being knocked out by Luffy, he falls unconscious a second time. Fujitora assumes a stance and a huge battle ensues. Now we all know what we're thinking. There's no way Akainu stands a chance against the Sharingan, but for Isho's secret plan, he gives the head admiral the W and is asked to be brought to headquarters in the Holy Land, Marijua. There he stands trial before the 5 elders and is asked to give a reason for his treason. Upon entry, Isho made sure to survey the architecture as well as the foundation of the palace. St. J. Garcia Saturn tells Isho that if he cannot respond, he will be executed publicly to send a message. Isho again makes this face and laughs. Only then does he realize that the world government's actions and policies are selfish and insidious. He immediately activates the powers of his Sharingan and his Devil Fruit ability. Once the ground beneath them begins to shake and the gravity in the room suddenly becomes heavier, all 5 elders get into gear and use their Devil Fruit abilities. But wait, there's more. What if Fujitora didn't only possess the powers of the Sharingan, but also the legendary rinnegan? Like Sasuke, Fujitora swaps places with the butterfly outside of Mary Jaw. When they find out Fujitora has disappeared, they become agitated and begin to search for him. In an effort to wrap things up, Isho claps both hands together and yells, "Chibaku Tensei!" This releases a black sphere into the sky, which generates a powerful attractive force that pulls everything into it like a large satellite. The size of a planet is created. Before you know it, members of the world nobles, security guards, pets, and creatures alike begin to get sucked into this hole. Prior to Akainu and the elders reaching Isho, the sky turns red. As they look up, they see not 1, not 2, but 6 meteors headed towards the castle. It's now or never. Fujitora intends to sink the world government and put an end to their tyrannical reign. Akainu calls for backup, bringing the likes of Kizaru and Rikigyu to join the fray, but to no avail. Isho is prepared to die for his cause. He remembers the loss of his parents and the eradication of his island. That's right, it's the very same world government that commanded a buster call in Ohara that did the same to his country. Eventually, the colossal planet-sized meteors would connect with the island, annihilating everything in their path. The World Economy newspaper covers events from the sky, with Morgan reporting live as they unfold. Dubbed the Battle of Good and Evil, even legends like Rayleigh are seen smiling and showing respect. Fujitora's latest report shows him suffering stab wounds and cuts to his body, but like Whitebeard, he stood tall as the foundation of the ground caved in, taking all 5 emperors as well as his fellow admirals with him. All over the world, people begin to celebrate. From Alabasta to Egghead Island, Sengoku and Carp call each other and immediately start planning their next move. Monkey D. Dragon, blown away, disbands the Revolutionary Army and pays his respects to Isho. In the next scenario, Fujitora never blinds himself, but instead chooses to live a normal life. He joins the Marines as a way to fight evil, but is overall more sensitive to the evil that he witnesses. He realizes that as long as people exist, there will always be evil. After a while, like Monkey D. Dragon, he leaves the Marines and joins the Revolutionary Army. In the organization, Fujitora learns about the heinous crimes that the world government has allowed world nobles to get away with. After all, what would you expect from the people who let criminals serve as warlords? Amongst other things, Isho also learns about the story of Kuma and how he has been a slave ever since he was born. Isho tells Dragon that the army needs to do more than just liberate islands under the world government's control. They have to hit the dog where it hurts. No offense to dogs, but Dragon knows that the Revolutionary Army does not stand a chance against the 5 elders and their seraphims. The best they could do is wait and see what happens. Sabo overhears their conversation and meets with Fujitora in secret to discuss his plan. He agrees with Fujitora and believes that the world government must come to an end, but also knows that they lack the manpower to actually execute their plan. Sabo then calls Luffy, an Emperor of the Sea, asking for help. He tells Luffy that he has been captured and is about to meet the same fate as Ace if he does not act fast. Luffy gets a hold of Law, Kid, the Mink tribe, and the samurai from Wano, and they all agree that the time has come. The great powers pick God Valley Island for the place that the legendary battle will take place. Since Garp and Kobe are both members of the Marines, they have no choice but to be there as well. Tens of thousands of ships are seen sailing towards the shore, with 5 bigger ships sailing ahead of them, each with an elder sitting in one. In the opposite direction, Luffy and the rest of the worst generation are seen sailing towards God Valley with an army as far as the eyes can see. Since Zhao already heard that Joy Boy has returned, he offers to bring the Mink tribe to the island himself, along with a huge subscribe sign on his back. Isho and Sabo, with a few members of the Revolutionary Army, stand in the middle of the island, ready for the battle of a lifetime. Sabo asks Fujitora why he's crying. He tells Sabo that he's really happy because he finally gets to see evil come to an end, no matter what. What do you think will happen when the 3 great powers finally collide? We'll leave that to your imagination down below. Thanks for watching. Bye!